In this video, we want to talk briefly about how to study with Galton College. First of all, we offer a 5-day induction course. It's not really 5 days, it's a number of topics. You may take longer or less, it depends on you, but most people would take around 5 days to look over the induction material and think about it. Essentially what it does is it introduces you to the course and talks about how to use learning facilities. We have many learning facilities on the course. We have a video library, a PDF library, we have live tuition, we have different ways in which the information is presented. For example, within classrooms, the different Google apps that we use. So we have a whole variety of ways in which we present information, and these are discussed, at least in summary form, in the induction. In truth, you get used to these after a few weeks of using them, and you'll find once you're used to using them, they are very easy. In fact, they're very efficient. So it's a very efficient way of studying. We talk about how to use the learning facilities, therefore, and that's important. We also talk about how to understand your assessment, what's required, and how to go about it. And we follow the same pattern of instruction as you would get at any university here in the UK, or any college for that matter. And we expect our students to be able to perform in the same way. But we understand that in the early stages, that will not be the case. So what we do is we induct you into this. We will teach you over a period of time that this is the way to do it. And you'll see the benefits from this eventually. It'll come to you and you will think it's common sense. It's the right way to do it, and it maximizes your chances of doing well, not just with us, but perhaps later, if you leave us and go on to study at another college or university, somewhere else in the world or somewhere else in where you're staying, it'll stand you in good stead. Everything we do is standard within education. We also talk about your study skills and how important your study skills are, and we make some recommendations for you to follow when you are studying. A lot of this is to recognize that you may have work, you may be working at the moment, or you may have family obligations, or there may be a whole variety of circumstances may impinge upon your study. And what we do is we simply distill down what is essential and how to go about it. And we'll talk about that as well. In fact, we do this on a more or less continuous basis. So it's almost wrong to say it's dealt with in the induction. It's dealt with all the time. We talk about this lots throughout the course. I mentioned here an e-portfolio at the bottom. That's because some students like to have an e-portfolio. They might like to show off their work. And it is a good idea when going for employment. Potential employers like to see what you've done, your qualifications, your skills, your achievements. And it's nice to be able to present it in a slick, pleasant form, which is what an e-portfolio should do. We present the app for the e-portfolio because when you join us, we will get you access to all of the relevant, all of the really useful apps that Google supply for education. And one of those is an e-portfolio. We ourselves don't properly develop this, at least not in one instance. We do access the e-portfolio and make use of it incrementally over a period of time, over different modules. We may refer to it and ask you to add parts on and so on. But a lot of students like to use it. It's popular among students, so we make it available, and that's why we mention it here. Now, tips on how to study. Well, here I've listed 8 different study tips. I'll just run through them very quickly. On the top left, we say find a quiet place to study. It should be fairly obvious. If you do find a quiet place to study, it's better than finding a noisy one. But it's not always possible to find a quiet place to study. I know from my own experience that when I'm in situations like that and I need a quiet space and I can't get it, I use earpieces or headphones. And some headphones are really good. They're quite cheap, and they block out the major part of the noise and will give you a quiet place to study. So it's not that difficult. In fact, a lot of what I do personally is I use my iPhone. I've got an old iPhone, in fact, it's quite old, and it works perfectly for me. But I have some earpieces I plug in, and I'm in my own world, my own study world, or my own education world. So find a quiet place. Failing that, try and get some headphones. Try to have a good internet connection. Streaming video, normally you need about 600k a second as a speed. So if you've got around 1 meg, it should work. It should be okay. It's consistency in the internet that may be the problem. Try to get one which is consistent. It doesn't break too often. If you get a faster one, okay, that's good. But the video will still come at the same pace. It won't come faster. It'll come at the same pace. So a good internet connection. I don't know what we mean by good. I think what we mean is consistent, one that doesn't break too often, and a reasonable speed, perhaps 1 meg, 2 meg. Or, as I said, a lot of people go for 20 meg or whatever, but that's what we'd recommend. We also think you should make notes as you study. Now, I use a small notebook and a pen, which I carry everywhere with me. It's just a little notepad to jot ideas down and jot notes down. I'm starting to move more and more towards Google Keep, which is an app that Google supply and you will have access to with your set of apps that we supply. Google Keep is absolutely wonderful. It's so simple. It's not sophisticated like Microsoft Word or Google Docs. It's just a very simple notepad where you can just type in ideas. You can color code the pages and you can sort them out, and it's very easy, and it's to be had everywhere. You could have it on your phone, you could have it on your tablet or on your desktop or on your laptop or whatever you're using. As I said, most of my work nowadays is on the iPhone. I use it a lot. I have access to a laptop, but I very seldom use it. The next point is organize your notes under modules and class headings. And watch out for videos on things like note taking and that sort of thing, because they will help you. They'll help you to organize your notes. But essentially, try and get yourself organized so you're not losing anything, or you're not getting mixed up, or you're not wasting time. Become efficient. So organize your notes under module headings. On the video, when you are using videos for learning, and we recommend strongly using videos, we have live sessions, we do live tuition, but our library is a video library. There's no point having books. Books cost a lot of money and are difficult to download. So we have videos. And videos to us are like lectures, except they're better than lectures. In a lecture, you have to get to the lecture theatre at a particular time. Then you have to find a seat. So you have to fight the traffic coming in, get to the lecture theatre, find a seat, and then the lecturer will arrive, maybe a little late, maybe not. Proceed to lecture. You can't hear everything that's been said, perhaps because you've got a seat at the back. The lecturer just goes through everything he or she wants to deliver. You have to write it down. You can't ask questions. If you don't understand it well, you don't understand it. With a video, you can play it anytime. You don't have to travel, make a long distance travel, and get into the lecture theatre and waste time sitting around and then travelling back at the end. It's all wasted time. You can get the video, play the video. You can play it as many times as you want. You can stop it and start it again and rewind it. You can't do any of that with a lecturer. You can't ask the lecturer to rewind, whatever that means. You can't ask the lecturer to stop and start again and to wait while you catch up. So, yeah, it's we think the video is a better way of learning. But we have got live tuition as well, so you can talk to tutors about what you saw on the video. It's just different. Get in contact with subject tutors from time to time. Make sure that your study is moving along and that you know what you're doing. And use the internet in general for further research. We've got a very extensive website with everything you need. We think everything you need is there. With all the lectures, all the seminars, all the readings, and lots of tuition and tutors, and we think we're self-contained. But in fact, the internet is a big place. You'll always find interesting articles online. If there was one site I was going to recommend, it would be Wikipedia. Wonderful concept, and all of the articles are checked and double-checked, so they are properly researched. But you will find others that you may want to use. Just make sure that the information there is accurate. And try to keep up to date with the business world. Just from time to time, access a business channel online. Get the business news just to see what's happening. You are studying business after all. Now, what we expect from you, we expect you to be self-motivated and keen to learn. We can't push it at you. We can't push education at you and make you into somebody else. You have to make yourself into that person. You have to really want to learn. If you really want to learn, great. Your job is half done. Try to have a career in mind as well. What do you want to do at the end? What sort of person do you want to be? What do you want to work at? Do you want to be an accountant or an administrator, or do you want to work in retail or in tourism, do you want to travel? Do you want to go to other countries? Do you want to do a master's in some other country, or do you want to do a master's where you are and work in a certain sector? What do you want to do exactly? Make sure you've got clear goals about what you want to do. It doesn't stop you changing them later, but for the moment, try and get clear goals. Try to get a good grade. Do your best to get a good grade on the course. Try to get distinctions, if you can. Very difficult to get distinctions in everything. Sometimes you'll slip and you'll get a merit. You might even get a pass. You might even get a referral. If you do get a referral, it's not the end of the world. You can come back from that. But do your best so your conscience is clear. You give it your best and you just fell short a little. Make sure you've got a long-term and a medium-term ambition, a direction of travel, where you're going to go. You might want to do a master's degree. You might want to later on stay with us and do a degree, or go to another university, perhaps in a different country, and do a degree, if you can afford to do so. Or you might want to do a master's. Later on, do a degree, do a master's. Perhaps go into education or go into business, go into consultancy, something like that. But have something in mind. You can change it later, but at any moment in time, you should have some sort of objective. You might want to do a professional qualification. Professional qualifications are totally underrated. They are super qualifications. It means if you want to become an accountant, you do a professional qualification. You do ACCA, or you do management accountancy, or you might do chartered secretaries and become an administrator in a company secretary, which is a very respectable job. It's an amazingly challenging job as well. And the institute that offers this are remarkably good. They have fantastic, wonderful courses that you can pick up after you completed study with us. Now, we provide online support through live sessions. We use Google Meet a lot. Everything we use is nearly Google because we're a part of the Google ecosphere. And like so many businesses, and more colleges as well. So we use Google Meet for academic support, and we also have live channels. The live channels, we set them up sometimes we take them down. You'll be informed when they're up, when they're down, and so on. And you post questions, and a tutor will be live and will give you answers. You may speak to the tutor, ask the question yourself. Why is it such and such? What happens if that and that? And the tutor will try to answer. If the tutor can't answer it, perhaps it's a very good question and the tutor can't answer, then the tutor should go away, try and find the answer and get back to you, post an answer back to you. And if you haven't heard from the tutor because you were expecting an answer and you didn't get one, you ask again. This time ask a different tutor and tell the different tutor that you've already asked a question. Don't just let it go by. Get an answer. Group members and other students. Well, you have to be supportive of group members, students and staff. We want you to be polite and nice and supportive. Even when someone's struggling, they just perhaps need a push and a little bit of encouragement, and they'll be fine. So if you're working with somebody else and they're having difficulties, try to understand, try to help. We foster a culture of respect and honesty, politeness and safety. We never ever try to upset anybody, and we don't expect you to do so either. So just be nice. That's what we try to do. If there's any misbehavior, we'll investigate it. Now, finally, we suggest strongly that you don't pass on any personal details to any unauthorized person or students on this course. Never give them your phone number or your address or your student ID. Never, never, ever. Don't tell them anything about financial details, what bank you're with. Don't do anything of that nature. And never give family information because they can trace you back. And unfortunately, the internet is a very good place, but it's also a very bad place. There are bad people who will try to scam others. We operate in a safe zone. We want to keep it safe for everyone. So we ask you never to share personal details, addresses, phone numbers, anything of that. Certainly not your student ID. If it becomes public knowledge, we have no idea who's doing the assessments and you would fail. So keep everything to yourself. Never share it. Never share it even with people that you get to know on the course. Don't share. And that advice goes to everyone. Never give financial details about your bank or where you live, or there's no need to share that. So don't do it. And with that in mind, that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. So that's the end of this session. So Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Well, hope that you will attend the next video. Until then, thanks a lot.